perform fellatio on me, and you get your deal. That was what I heard while I was on Empire about some of the people in the business. And Petey Pablo, you remember Petey Pablo?
I know who that is.
Petey Pablo, talented writer, singer. Him and Young Buck wrote a song called Ho Is On. And in that song, back in about 2011 or 29 or something, because he called out all of the taking place at those parties and those people, he was kicked out of the music business.
I thought it was gonna be cold out here. Feel good as hell. Nice and proud.
There was a time where I was sipping lean, I was popping pills, I was doing Molly, shrooms, everything. And it was just an escape for me. I was just young, like everybody in the industry and people in the world. I started valuing the wrong things in this business because there was things dangling in front of me. If I get this, I'll be happy. If I do this, I'll be happy.
Rappers, they're all so tough until you hear their real name.
Yeah, or until you see them at a puffy party.
Oh.
Then they're not tough no more. I'm surprised that the rap game is still alive because the masculinity that the rappers are supposed to portray. Oh.
Remember when Petey Pablo was dominating the charts? Raise Up had the whole world throwing up the North Carolina sign. But somehow, this lyrical genius was systematically kicked out of the music business for exposing something the industry desperately wanted buried. Then, it was DaBaby's turn. One day he's celebrating with industry elites. The next, those same people won't even return his calls. And Justin Bieber? He's casually listing off Molly, Xanax, and lean like a grocery list of substances he used just to feel happy in an industry that promised to make his dreams come true. They didn't just fail, they were broken. Talented people brought to ruin by design. And now Terrence Howard is here to expose all of it. What if none of this was accidental? What if there's a calculated system designed to destroy artists the moment they refuse to submit? 3 different generations, 1 terrifying pattern. The question isn't whether this conspiracy exists. It's how many more will be sacrificed before we finally say enough. Remember when talent actually mattered? When an artist could blow up just by being undeniably gifted? That's exactly what happened with Petey Pablo. But his story reveals something darker about what happens when that talent threatens the wrong people.
I was already 20-something years old and I'm sleeping on somebody's couch. I'm staying in New York. I'm the only thing, because I've never been a slouch, so the only thing that I know that I can do for the people that I'm staying with is make sure that they house clean and make sure that they dishes washed and, make sure if they needed something from the store, I would run to the store for them. But I was that dude before I went to prison, I was that, my money was straight, I was the big dog before I went. And so here I am now washing people's dishes and, sweeping their house up. And it was hard for a dude that was on a certain level in life, as a street guy, to have to humble himself to just survive.
This is the Petey Pablo the industry doesn't want you to remember. 20 years old, hungry, grinding from nothing. No connections, no silver spoon, just raw talent and the kind of determination that built hip-hop from the ground up. When Raise Up hit, it wasn't manufactured or focus group. It was authentic fire that couldn't be contained. But here's what makes his story different from every other rags to riches tale you've heard.
The whole Terrence story, that was a whole story within itself. Anyway, because the reason that I got that role on Empire was, like Cherry said, I'm just that guy. I just so happened to run into Terrence Howard in the Four Seasons Hotel, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? That's Terrence, the Hustle and Flow. Oh man, what's up? He was like, man, I listen to all your stuff. He was like, even when I was on Hustle and Flow, he was like, I listen to your music. He said I was trying to act like Petey Pablo, and that's crazy to me. You did. So I said, hey man, we all going out. What's up? You want to come out? And he was like, nah, man, I'm going through a little something right now, man. I lost my wallet, lost my credit cards and everything, so I'm just going up to my room, man. So I was like, damn, you lost. So I reached in my pocket and pulled out 200. He was like, here, take this. He was like, here. He was like, I was like, no, man, you just don't be walking around with nothing in your pocket. Like, here.
Oh, that's
and I gave him the money and I walked off. So fast forward, 13 years later, I get a phone call. And this was a couple years ago. He was like, is this Petey? I was like, yeah. He was like, first of all, I need you to see. He's like, this is Terrence Howard. I was like, damn, what's up, bro? I ain't heard from you in, years. Last time, he was like, yeah, last time I seen you, yeah, something happened between us. And I need you to send me your address because I owe you some money. And I was like, nah, bro, you don't owe me no money. He was like, bro, send me your address or I'm going to hang the phone up and and you'll never hear from me again. So I'm like, okay. So I give him my phone, my address. 2 days later, I get a check for $15,000.
Dang, what a great investment.
Crazy, right? Crazy. So I called him back and I was like, bro, he was like, listen, you do not realize that at that time, I didn't lose my wallet. He was like, I just said that because I was so embarrassed that I was going through what I was going through in life. And he was like, effortlessly, you just reached in your pocket and handed me money and didn't really even know me. You knew me from watching me on TV. You know, we had never had a conversation or anything. And he was like, and people that I've known for years had denied me at that point in time in his life. And he was like, and he was really in a bad place. He was like, for me to reach in my pocket and effortlessly just do an act of kindness that way, he was like, it changed his thought about life. And I was like, man, that's really crazy. He was like, now we got that out of the way. Now I need you to help me on this Empire situation.
Real recognizes real. When Petey showed kindness to Terrence Howard at that Four Seasons hotel, he had no idea he was talking to a future Hollywood legend. No cameras, no publicity, just one human being treating another with genuine respect. Years later, when Terrence had the power to help, he remembered that moment and got Petey a role on Empire. That's the kind of character we're talking about. Authentic relationships in an industry built on fake smiles and calculated moves. So if this man had the talent, the work ethic, and the integrity that even Hollywood respected, what happened?
The actual truth. Straight up, hey, you better get your mind right because this is what's going on. And that's what I've always been on. I'm like, hey, man, telling the truth is the coolest. You know what I mean? Lying and fronting and putting on and stunting. Like, you talking about Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Like, a lot of people ain't never gonna even see these cars in real life.
There it is. The moment everything changed, Petey Pablo made a choice that would define his entire career and destroy it. He decided to tell the truth about what he was seeing, what he was being asked to do, what the industry really demanded from its artists. He chose his morals over money, his integrity over industry acceptance, and the machine that built him up, it turned on him instantly. But standing for truth in Hollywood comes with a price that most people never see coming. That price Petey Pablo paid? It's time you understood exactly what the industry demanded from him and what happens to artists who refuse to pay it.
And they tell him, okay, yeah, you can have a deal. You know, perform fellatio on me, and you get your deal. That was what I heard while I was on Empire about some of the people in the business. And Petey Pablo, you remember Petey Pablo?
I know who that is.
Petey Pablo, talented writer, singer. Him and Young Buck wrote a song called Ho His Own. And in that song, back in about 2011 or 29 or something, because he called out all of the taking place at those parties and those people, he was kicked out of the music business. No radio station would play his stuff. So you look for Petey Pablo, he's not around anymore. But that song, Ho Its Own, they did not, and they went all in on it.
This is the moment everything clicks into place. Terrence Howard just revealed the industry's darkest secret. The real reason Petey Pablo was erased from music history. It wasn't about talent, it wasn't about marketability, it wasn't about changing trends. It was about favors. The industry told Petey early in his career that this was how the game worked. You give them what they want behind closed doors, or you don't get what you want in the spotlight. But Petey did something that shocked them. Instead of quietly submitting like so many others, he started exposing it. He began talking about the exploitation happening regardless of gender, the favors being exchanged for opportunities, the systematic mistreatment disguised as mentorship. And the moment he opened his mouth about what was really happening in those boardrooms and private meetings, his fate was sealed. The industry has perfected this same psychological warfare. They take strong, talented men, rappers who project masculinity and power, and force them into situations designed to strip away their dignity, their sense of self, their very identity. It's not just about the physical acts. It's about psychological control. It's about making sure that every time they step on stage, every time they rap about being powerful, they remember who really owns them.
There's so much prostitution threaded through all of this entertainment industry. It's covered with, oh, well, that's what you have to do to make the boss happier. That's how you get the, no, it's prostitution. It's, all of this transactional.
Jaguar Wright just confirmed what Terrence Howard revealed. This isn't random mistreatment or isolated incidents. This is a systematic transactional business model. S-work, that's what she called it. The industry uses S-exploitation as the ultimate control mechanism. Once they have you compromised, once they have evidence of what you've done or what's been done to you, you can never truly be free. You stay in line because they own your shame. You do what they tell you because they control your secrets. You keep quiet about what you've seen because speaking out means destroying yourself in the process. This is how they broke Petey Pablo. This is how they control the entire industry. And this is why so many talented artists either disappear completely or become hollow versions of themselves. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. But the victims, they're about to tell you their stories. But the real horror isn't just what they demand from artists. It's how young they start targeting them. And the victims who survived are finally ready to tell their stories.
Like, people look at Usher, they don't see that. They're not seeing the victim. They're not seeing that boy that got rushed to the hospital. They're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
Oh.
Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there. Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute. And his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that. He had already been to the hospital. That situation that Gene was talking about. And you still took Bieber there. But you got custody of him first. Diddy had already tried. They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler. Does that sound like a good guy?
It's horrible.
Does that sound like a good guy? Now that we know what Diddy's really like, what kind of asshole do you gotta be to take another boy, another talented boy, and put him in your place so it ain't gotta be you no more?
Jaguar Wright just revealed the horrifying truth about Justin Bieber's discovery. Usher didn't mentor him. He delivered a child to his own handler to save his failing career. When you hear Justin casually naming substances, you're not seeing celebrity excess. You're witnessing a trauma survivor coping with systematic childhood exploitation.
There was a time where I was sipping lean, I was popping pills, I was doing Molly, shrooms, everything. And it was just an escape for me. I was just young, like everybody in the industry and people in the world. I started valuing the wrong things in this business because there was things dangling in front of me. If I get this, I'll be happy. If I do this, I'll be happy.
This is how they keep everyone in line. This is how they ensure silence. This is how they maintain control over the biggest names in entertainment. Because once you're in that system, speaking out means destroying yourself in the process. The shame, the blackmail, the evidence they have on you becomes your prison.
When you speak the songs about the average everyday individual that everyone in the world can identify with, that's what makes an incredible artist. When you can say something that the bum that you call a bum on the corner can listen to and feel like you're talking about him, that's when you, because everybody has been down. Mm-hmm. Everybody ain't always been up. Mm-hmm. So if you can speak to people that has lived in a place that we all have lived, hey, then you have accomplished something. You know what I mean? Talking about things that are over people's head, they can't do nothing but bob to the beat because they can't identify with nothing.
And here's what happens to those who refuse to play along. Petey Pablo just confirmed the industry's brutal message. Speak out, and your career stops cold. One day he's dominating charts, the next he's completely erased. No music, no features, no appearances. While his peers climbed higher, Petey vanished. The industry made him an example. Choose your morals over their money, and you join Petey in exile. Most artists got that message loud and clear. Now you understand how individual artists get broken. But the real horror is discovering that this isn't random mistreatment. It's a coordinated network of powerful preds who protect each other while systematically destroying anyone who threatens their control.
No. From what I heard, he sounded like a baby when he was begging for money from Lucian Grange. You know, everybody's forgetting how he sat there and slut-shamed the shit out of Ashanti. And then talked about that music and then bragged about how he sold all of their mother publishing rights to that weirdo vampire, Lucian Grange. And he sat there, I don't have to worry about BET because, you know, see, I know people like Lucian Grange. So did Diddy. Did he you too? Like, it's just,
man.
I wouldn't be bragging. I said that. When he did the Drink Champs, I said it. That's not a flex. Bragging about Lucian Grange hooking you up don't look so good right now, do it. That ain't aging all that well. Because everybody know that Lucian has been Diddy and the Sean Carter. They sugar babies. So what the you? I'm just curious. With the Diddy doo-wop and the bop. All I can say is this. When you're used to bitches giving you all kinds of affection and then you don't become as popular as you get older, you still expect for people to treat you the way they treated you when you was really popping. These want to accept they ain't popping like that no more.
Jaguar Wright just shattered the biggest illusion in entertainment. Diddy and Jay-Z aren't the masterminds you think they are. They're sugar babies, puppets dancing for even more powerful figures like Lucian Grange. Think about what that means. The men we thought controlled hip-hop are actually being controlled themselves. It's not just one pred or one label destroying careers, it's an entire network where the biggest names in music are actually middle management in a much larger operation. They stay relevant by feeding fresh talent to their handlers, and they stay protected by keeping their mouths shut about what they've seen and done.
That what they're really trying to do is stop this RICO from kicking off. Right. Because see, that's the one thing we all really need to be talking about. Diddy's handled up on it. But if they had done a better investigation in the R. Kelly case, they would have found ties to Diddy. They would have found ties to Mr. Carter. They would have found ties to Harvey Weinstein. They would have found ties to Jeffrey Epstein. They could have handled all of this years ago. But see, they chose the acceptable monster so that everyone else could keep playing. While everyone is sitting here looking at the trial, listening to all of these terrible things that I've been telling people have been happening for years. Why are we not looking at the people that are trying to get away? See, everybody's trying to stop this RICO from happening. And I'm telling y'all right now, this is the remix that's gonna be a hit. RICO Suave for everybody, baby. That's why I'm there. Because I want to make sure don't nobody miss nothing.
Here's how they've rigged the entire justice system. Jaguar Wright just revealed their strategy. They're not trying to prove Diddy's innocent. They're trying to contain the damage. They chose him as the acceptable monster, so everyone else in the network can keep operating in the shadows. While everyone focuses on Diddy's crimes, the real power players like Jay-Z, Lucian, and other mogul network continue their operations untouched. It's brilliant and horrifying. They sacrifice one member to protect the whole system. And it works, because people think justice is being served when really they're just watching theater.
So DaBaby sat down with Shay Shay and said that he was at a party at Diddy's house. He made very good mention to say that Diddy took a strong liking to him. Diddy liked him so much that he put his arm around him, drew him in close, and he digged him so much that he got rid of everyone else, and it was only 15 people left, and 2 of those 15 were Jay-Z and Beyonce. And then Beyonce came up to him and presented herself to him and introduced herself to him as if he didn't know who she was.
And here's proof this system is still operating at full capacity. DaBaby wasn't just randomly canceled. He was systematically targeted because he refused to play along. Diddy was paying him attention. Beyonce was presenting herself to him. And when DaBaby didn't take the bait, they destroyed his career overnight. It's clear, the icons you worship, the legends you respect, they're not just complicit in this system. They're actively recruiting for it. Beyonce isn't just an entertainer, she's a handler. And when artists don't respond to her advances, they get the DaBaby treatment. Some refuse to submit, no matter the cost. But here's what separates the heroes from the victims. Some artists refuse to submit, no matter what it costs them. And the industry has perfected the art of destroying anyone who dares to say no.
They accused him of fondling or touching someone at a bar.
Oh, yeah. But
At a bar, and then they accused him of touching some dude.
Terrence Howard just revealed their playbook. When Petey wouldn't play along, they didn't just blacklist him quietly. They weaponized false accusations. They accused him of inappropriate behavior with someone, let the rumors spread like wildfire, and watched his reputation crumble overnight. This is their standard operating procedure. Can't control an artist through bribes or threats? Destroy them with manufactured scandals, plant stories, create witnesses, let social media do the rest. By the time the truth comes out, if it ever does, the damage is permanent, and the artist is already forgotten.
A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you like, or looking at you like you're a woman. You know, when you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're gonna get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing, and have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise, I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man, I don't do that, because the man card means everything.
Terrence Howard just confessed that he faced the same choice Petey did. Multiple producers approached him with the same deal, as favors for opportunities. And just like Petey, Terrence said no. Not just once, but every single time. The cost? Everything. Roles he should have gotten went to others. Projects he was perfect for suddenly had scheduling conflicts. His career trajectory changed forever because he chose his dignity over their demands. In Hollywood, there's a myth that talent rises and hard work gets rewarded. But Terrence's story proves the brutal truth. Sometimes the only way to rise is to say yes. And sometimes the only way to survive with your soul intact is to say no.
Not picking up phone calls. I ain't no friendly anyway though, you know what I'm saying? So that ain't had no type of effect on me. Like I barely called. I ain't called. When I was on top, I ain't called. Before I got on top, like I ain't really that type. Like I'ma eat what you type. I'ma eat what I regardless, so I know that's me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I get down. Like, you know, and that's kind of like that it eventually I adapted and that just became my approach.
DaBaby was on top of the world with chart-topping hits and sold-out shows. But the second he refused to play their game, the industry turned ice cold. When the backlash came, he stood completely alone. All those friends and industry insiders, gone without a trace. This is how fast they can erase you. One day you're the hottest name in music. The next day your calls go straight to voicemail. No explanations, no second chances, no loyalty. And Cat Williams revealed that this isn't just music, it's everywhere. And the one person who's been trying to warn us about the scope of this system has been hiding in plain sight, disguised as comedy.
These things that I'm saying in Hollywood exist in religious circles, in politics, in the medical profession. It's how all cases are handled, right? So what am I saying? I'm saying if it's car theft and we're going to accuse you of having a carjacking ring, right? We're going to begin by bringing in people that we caught.
Here's the most chilling revelation of all. Every scandal, every downfall, every death is planned for maximum financial gain. DaBaby's cancellation wasn't random backlash. Petey Pablo's disappearance wasn't bad luck. Justin Bieber's breakdown wasn't teenage rebellion. It was all planned, calculated, orchestrated for profit. The audience thinks they're watching real life, but they're actually watching theater. And the performers don't even know they're playing roles until it's too late to change the script.
What I'm saying is, in business, nothing is coincidental, or you will be hearing who's losing money. In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get, not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they this $20 million guy, but they reach $60 million in benefits.
Wow.
And they had some people from your city do it.
Wow.
I'm saying there's the good side and the bad side of these businesses.
Here's why Cat Williams is still standing when so many others have fallen. He went to those parties as a spy, not a participant. While others were getting compromised, Cat was gathering evidence. While others were submitting to the system, Cat was documenting it.
I'm anti-establishment, so I can never be the establishment. You know what I mean? Like, even if I'm at the Diddy party, I'm there to tell. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm there to see who the is in here and what do y'all get from being in here.
The system that destroyed Petey Pablo, broke Justin Bieber, and abandoned DaBaby isn't just entertainment industry corruption. It's the blueprint for how power operates everywhere. And the only way to fight it is to refuse to play their game, no matter what it costs you. So now you know the truth. The system isn't broken, it's working exactly as designed. Petey Pablo, Justin Bieber, DaBaby, Terrence Howard, they weren't victims of bad luck or poor choices. They were casualties of a machine that demands submission and punishes integrity. But knowing the truth is just the beginning. The real question is, if this system has been operating for decades, how many artists that you thought fell off were actually pushed out? If you like this video, hit that subscribe button so that you never miss out on any new videos. And until then, fam, keep it real.